I've been using the Redmi Note 10 Pro since it came out here in Vietnam, and I've been really excited about a Redmi Note 10 Pro 5G and what that could potentially bring to the market. That was recently announced, and let's talk about that today. Now, if you guys are new to my channel, I make videos about finding the best values in tech and getting the most out of your tech. So if you like videos like that, hit subscribe. On my Discord server, you guys were asking me to talk about the Redmi Note 10 Pro 5G, whether or not I was going to be upgrading to it. And if you guys want to join my Discord server, I've got links to all that stuff in the description. Now, I'm going to run through the specs first. For the Redmi Note 10 Pro 5G, we have an X-axis vibration motor, a full HD 120 Hertz display that's LCD.
No, God, please, no, no, no!
With Corning Gorilla Glass Victus, we have a 64 megapixel camera, the same 8 megapixel camera that we have on this phone, and then we have a 2 megapixel, I'm not sure if that's a depth camera or if that's a macro camera. I'm reading a Vietnamese publication of this. We have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery with 67 watt charging, side mounted fingerprint scanner, LPDDR4X RAM, UFS 3.1 storage, which is kind of a big deal since it's going to make a huge difference in app opening and closing speed. We have the Dimensity 1100 5G chipset, which is going to benchmark higher than the Snapdragon 732G. And according to benchmarks and kind of predictions, the Dimensity 1100 should benchmark close to a Snapdragon 765G. So a decent spec or a decent jump in performance over the Snapdragon 732G that we have here. It's going to come in at 8 256, 8 128, and a 6 128 gigabyte variant. For the Redmi Note 10 5G, we're going to have the same, or we're going to have a similar LCD display of 6.5 inches. That's going to be a full HD 90 Hertz LCD display, so a departure completely away from AMOLED. We're going to have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery with 18 watt charging, side mounted fingerprint scanner, LPDDR4X RAM, UFS 2.2 storage, and the Dimensity 700 series of chipset with 5G. Now, this is something personally that I'm a little bit disappointed about, and kind of for two reasons. First, one of the things that I think makes the Redmi Note 10 Pro just a great overall value is the 120 Hertz AMOLED display. The AMOLED display on this is a Samsung E3 panel. It gets super bright outside. It's absolutely gorgeous, and comparing it side by side with my old Xiaomi Mi 10, and you guys can look at that video up here, I thought that this display was just as good as last year's flagship display on Xiaomi's Mi 10, which is really great considering the value. The display isn't quite as good as what we have on the Poco F3, but you're gonna make some trade-offs with this at the price point. The second thing that's a huge disappointment to me, or potentially a huge disappointment to me, is the 64 megapixel camera. Now, I don't have any confirmation of the actual unit for the image sensor that they're gonna be using in that device. If I can find it as I'm editing this video, I'll put it up here on screen, but we don't know if it's gonna be the Samsung GW1 or the Sony IMX682. It wouldn't be the 686 because this phone would not be able to record 4K 60 anyway, so no reason for them to spend the extra money on that chipset. That said, the HM2 sensor of this camera, which offers 12 megapixel images after it's binned, in my opinion, has actually been quite impressive in regards to the dynamic range it gets in like good lighting conditions. And you guys can check out camera tests and Gcam camera tests in these videos up here. And it's been something that I've been really happy with. That said, the Redmi Note 10 Pro has a f1.9 aperture lens, so it's not even it's not really as bright as the 1.6, 1.8 aperture lenses that we have on other devices. But then again, this is definitely a budget device. I want to know, are you guys excited about the Redmi Note 10 Pro 5G? It is going to be a MediaTek chipset, which means unless we get a lot of development for this device. You're probably going to be stuck on MIUI, and don't buy the China variant because you're not going to be able to use Google Apps on the China variant after MIUI 12.5. But I've talked enough. I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section down below on Twitter or on Discord. Peace.